Everybody, welcome back to another Lucky Grand Prix match. This time we're up against CtheTree here. I believe I won the die roll. See what he's up against. We are playing Nativity Herods, deck I've been running, trying to get good at, trying to master, so to say. And this time we're trying out a new kind of Lost Soul package here. I want to try and put people in a sticky situation. And so instead of Lost Souls like Grumbled, like Shepherds, and Prosperity, and Darkness, we're going to be trying to play Lost Souls that have effects, static effects. So for example, Humble is a great effect, Dull, Stressed, Crowds, Color Guard, and I'm also trying out Accusers right now. I'm trying to see how this card fits in the deck, if it feels good. Sometimes it can just pose offenses that are too reliant on Old Testament heroes, and plus it's really good against Herdsmen of Gerar. I know I'm not really a Matthew deck, but it's nice when you have these big Star Bethlehem turns. You can fire off Star Bethlehem before they block if you have Accusers down and be pretty confident that they're not going to Herdsman and try to catch back up in the game. So we're going to try it, but it is going to maybe cause some problems that I did not foresee happening. All right, so actually he does get to go first this time. I lost the die roll, and he's going to be playing Three Woes to negate the Accuser's Lost Soul. So it's causing him enough problems that he's already going to have to try and get rid of him because he wants to attack with a Hannah to reveal my hand and draw cards. But he's only going to see one Evil Brigade in there, so he's only going to draw one card. So unfortunately not the best attack with Hannah. So let's see. I don't have any evil characters, but I do have a Crowd's Choice in my hand. So I get to choose. What do I want to get here? I feel like Herod the Great would be a good call here because I get to do a temple. I get to put a temple into play and start a toss battle. A 1-1 versus a 12-10. Unless they have Angel of the Lord, probably going to get this rescue attempt here. I'm probably going to get the block here. And you have, yes, of course, we're going to do Herod's Temple. I'm going to ask if he'd like to play Dominant. And I'll activate Herod's Temple. It's going to reserve a Lost Soul, but the Lost Soul has to go into play. Anytime you try to remove a Lost Soul out of the deck, like if you're discarding the top card, if you're reserving the top card, if you happen to hit a Lost Soul, that Lost Soul has to get put into play. And so this is really nice because now I'm starting to put together all these different lock pieces he has to do. So right now he has to navigate the protection of Herod's Temple, the fact that I can just start tossing in battle, and now he has to navigate a dual Lost Soul. So, and if he searches in battle with a good search ability, now I can get stuff. Okay, my turn. I'm gonna use a Futile Inquisition to check out his reserve. So I know it's the first turn in the game and you can't really remove cards from reserves, but what you can do with a card like Futile Inquisition, if you use star abilities, you can look at his reserve. You can't take any cards out of it, but what I'm seeing right now is he has a lot of gold cards. So that tells me he's on Herods. It looks like he has some sort of musician offense. So Herods and musicians. So that's really good. That's really going to help me decide how I'm going to attack this first turn. Because right now I don't have to be worried about there's a pretty low chance he's going to be playing Herdsman. So even though he negated my Accusers, if I attack with the giant attack and draw cards, I get to know that he's probably not going to have Herdsman or Goliath. I really have to play around Herods. So the card that I'm thinking about right now is Herod Agrippa. I got to figure out if he blocks with this card, I need to be able to beat it. So I'm just doing typical turn 1 nativity stuff. I got the new covenant, which can take a good gospel enhancement from my deck, which I got the Annunciation down. And I'll be playing that on one of my characters. It has to be a nativity hero, so we're going to do that. And I'll be wanting to get a resurrection. So that's going straight to my hand. Just getting it set up. It looks like I'm going to have a very good turn 1 here. Because the resurrection gets really good if you can ban 3 different heroes into play. So let's say attack with one of them hero, and I play resurrection, ban 3 heroes in. It gets really snowbally really fast. So my best hero to attack with is the one I can't ban into battle, the Messianic Messenger. And because opponent has 7 cards in hand and I have 6, I get to take a good nativity card from my hand. I'm going to take the Flight into Egypt because I'm planning to do a Star of Bethlehem turn here to draw 4 cards before he blocks. Before I do that, I need to play my resurrection, grab a fortress, and grab an empty tomb hero. So the empty tomb hero, I already have John the Fisherman in my hand, so I'm going to be grabbing a resurrection revealer. And let's add some hand protection with the Bethlehem Stable. It's going to be really nice. And now I get to do my band 3 different people. So Simeon the Devout coming in, Joseph the Betrothed also coming in, and then the last one will be John. So the cool thing is with Joseph is because I don't have hand advantage in it, I can still search for a good nativity card. So I'm going to be taking the Star Bethlehem out of my deck with Joseph. And so that's a good dominant, which will be nice for when I do John the Fisherman. I have something to reveal for him, so that'll be really nice. And I'm trying to do all these abilities in a way so that I do the banding at the end, because if you band a bunch of heroes into battle, their abilities don't all happen at the same time. There's like a specific order of operations, so to say, just like how in math you have to resolve addition before multiplication. I think that's how that works. Same in redemption. There's certain things that have to happen first. So banding, if you're doing a bunch of banding people into battle, the people that you band into battle, their banding happens at the end. I don't know if that makes sense. I wish I had a better way to explain it, but basically, if I use my banding on Simeon, if I use that first, that would have indicated that I had skipped all my other ones. So that's a really easy mistake to make. So that's why I'm doing all the banding at the end. So Joseph, his banding happens now, so he's going to band to Mary. Mary's going to negate and reserve his woes, which is a big deal now that I know woes is out of the picture. And then Simeon's going to band to my resurrection revealer because it is a gospel. So really, really good turn so far. Have I even done my Star Bethlehem? Yeah, resurrection revealer, getting Star Bethlehem. What did Joseph get? I think I grabbed Lost Child Found, I guess. That's so good. What a good first attack. So I'm going to play this X equals fur. So I can choose 4 different star cards in my discard pile, play, or hand, and activate their star abilities. So I got to be very careful on which 4 I select, because I definitely want to select Star Bethlehem, Light into Egypt. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to look at his hand, or do I want to play a Lost Soul from his deck? I feel like looking at his hand is going to give me better information for how to block him next turn. But yeah, I got to be very careful, because when I'm putting cards on the table like that, there's a good chance if I happen to play John, as I kind of like, well, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, and I point to 4 cards, and I forget to point to Star Bethlehem, there's no like undoing that. So I got to be very careful and explicit with what I'm choosing to reveal and how I'm resolving that. Anyways, a cool trick you can do with Star Bethlehem is activate John the Fisherman star ability, which top decks a dominant onto your deck. And so that when you draw cards with Star Bethlehem, one of those is going to be the dominant that you choose. So that's really nice. And this deck is playing so many good dominants. So I'm going to get Glory of the Lord. That card is good on offense or defense. And then I forgot to comment on what was in his hand. But basically, I think I saw on defense, as far as defense is going, he did have the Herod Agrippa. So yeah, I have a lot of answers to him in my hand. I have number 1, I have Lost Child Found. But I think I saw he had like a negate in his hand, so that's not really going to work. But I have the Three Woes, which I can play as a good dominant to negate his evil card, so I can negate his protection. In this deck, it really feels bad to play this as a good dominant. You really want to be able to interact with their good cards, notably their good fortresses that provide them either territory protection or hand protection. So it's only in dire situations where I play this as a good dominant, but this seems like worth it. If I don't deal with this Herod now, it's just going to keep coming back to bite me later. And Herods don't really have good ways to get back their Herods unless they're playing Jerusalem. All right, so his Herod's going to negate my draw, which is unfortunate. Oh yeah, and another way to like really just negate him is I can get my draw back and get those 2 cards back. I'm just looking at my options, but yeah, just thinking, even though I won't be able to negate his good cards, just being able to do this and try to win the battle is really nice. Get some additional cards. If I had an enhancement here that, would have negated something, draw 2 cards, I would have played it. And I love just being able to put a Herodias into play on turn 2 after you draw a bunch of cards. So now the opponent is starting their turn 2 without access to their reserve, which is really nice. So yeah, turn 1, turn 2 went probably about as best as I could have wanted for him. He wasn't really able to draw a bunch of cards. And then on my turn, I was able to just get off to the races. And so 8 cards in hand, a billion cards in territory. It'll be interesting to see what the opponent can do. Try and get out of this. All right, no, that's not it. What did he do? I don't remember what card that is, but basically it's a territory class card that lets him search his deck, give that card protection. So he looks like he got the 24 Elders, which is good in general speaking sense. It's Son of God in his hand. So if he attacks me with the 24 Elders, I do have Herod the Great, Herod Archelaus, or the Deceivers as good blocks here. And he got rid of my Humble, so my enhancements that are usually really good, like Futile Inquisition or Contagious Fear, those are I'm gonna have to worry about those getting negated by 24 Elders if he decides to attack there. I really like this Herod's deck. It's so good against a lot of different things. So if people are attacking you with creatures like, or sorry, heroes like the 24 Elders, I do have outs to that because of Humble and then also Golgotha, which lets the first skull icon card used by your NT character each battle cannot be prevented. Super nice. I love Golgotha. I love Humble. And even though this deck probably could get away without playing Humble Lost Soul, it's just really nice. I really like to have it, especially because the way interesting way modifiers work in Redemption. So modifiers are cards that are modifiers are things like cannot be prevented, cannot be negated, cannot be interrupted, regardless of protection, stuff like that. And so any card that grants those modifiers to other cards in themselves inherently they can't be negated. So if a person would try to do a Three Woes on a Humble or Three Woes on a Golgotha, that's actually going to not that's actually going to not get rid of their ability to give the modifiers. I wish I had a better way to explain that, but basically you can't negate a Humble, you can't negate Overtaken, can't negate Wicked, Lost Soul, anything that gives modifiers. Or for example, let's say, okay, anyways, I'll get back to that, but what's happening right now is a toss battle between my Herod Archelaus and Esther. I'm trying to feel like I know he has Reprimand Repercussion in his hand, and I should have played the Glory of the Lord here because he's trying to toss me down. And so if I just play this, I restrict him from playing his enhancements, and he's not able to kill me. So that would have been really nice. But I mess up, and I let him play another enhancement, and he tosses me down. So he traded 2 enhancements for Herod, and I had to reserve the top card of my deck, which was a Storehouse. Yep, not the best. Draw 3 cards, return no star abilities. We do have the Hunter Lost Soul, which can go grab the best Old Testament Lost Soul in my my deck, which is going to be Color God. Oh, it wasn't this game where it came up, but it was a game I played later in the day where I had the Accuser's Lost Soul, and because I'm playing Tubal Cain in my reserve, I tried. He chose Tubal Cain to block with Zacchaeus, and I wasn't able to do Tubal Cain's ability. I felt silly. So Accuser's probably gonna get cut if I'm playing Tubal Cain because I want to be able to block with this guy, not have my own stuff, negate my own stuff, and have that anti synergy. This game, we're really going to be able to see the power of 20 shekels happening. Not only does it keep their hand size up, in theory, he only has 4 cards in hand, but I can play any character from the hand, which makes it very vulnerable. So I played on Deceiver, which just feels nice, but now I make a mistake. During my upkeep, I did the right thing to do. I got the Shepherds of Bethlehem because I wanted to get a Lost Soul out of his deck, because he has no Lost Souls, and I want to keep the pressure on. Even though I'm really far ahead, his Soul Drought is going to hurt me. If he's able to keep attacking and getting Lost Souls, and I'm stable, I have to just sit here and not do anything. So I got Shepherds out of my deck, but there's a part of me that's tunnel visioning. It's like, oh, I got to reserve Deceivers with Mary. So I end up accidentally attacking with Joseph. In my mind, I was like, oh, Joseph, I could bandage Shepherds, but Joseph can only bandage Mary. So yeah, I should have been attacking with Shepherds here, but I made a mistake and decided not to. And this is where I realized, oh man, I messed up. And against Chad, there's no really take backsies. So you have to just commit with what you're putting into battle. So if I go Resurrection Revealer ban and I drag Joseph into battle, there's no like, oh, can I actually do something else? That's not going to fly. And if you try to do that at a tournament, that's not going to fly either. So I just have to, just accept that and use Mary to get rid of, negate and reserve their Deceiver. So I get rid of Deceiver, but I would have loved to get another Lost Soul there while he was so far behind on cards because he just had a Deceiver and a Revolt in his hand. I think I could have powered through. I guess he could have Deceiver to Herod the Great, get Herod's Temple out to attack. So I think he had a good block. Oh wait, no, he could have chosen the Resurrection Review in a toss battle. But then I could have gotten Crouch Choice out of my deck, and I could have gotten a Silver Enhancement out of my. So yeah, I don't know what would have happened. But another just solid turn for me. He's really not being able to work with a bunch of cards. He has 6 cards in hand, 1 card in play. This feels like a little bit of a repeat of the last game we had played, where he kind of found himself in a similar situation, really far behind on cards. But the thing about Chad's deck is he can make it work with while he's behind on cards. He knows how to play his cards correctly and how to leverage, even though he is kind of far behind. Right now, I'm looking at Faith Unbowed does. That was one of the cards he has in his hand. And I didn't memorize it, and so I was just looking up what it does. I'm trying to figure out if this card Faith Unbowed would be able to protect his heroes from a Tubal Cain. I believe it would, because I actually don't know. Because like, what would happen if he attacks with somebody and I go Tubal Cain and activate my Madness? Can he play Faith Unbowed to stop it? I'm not sure, because this is not part of the battle. It's like outside of the battle, the artifact pile. You know, if I was playing an enhancement on Tubal Cain, yeah, he could interrupt the battle there, but I think he's being put in special initiative. So he has a card that can interrupt the battle, and if it's affecting cards, neutral cards, which Faith and Bow does, he would be able to stop it there. Okay, so I'm deciding to go with there's Executioner, and this is going to be really funny, but because he has Esther, any evil card, if I play an evil card with the word negated in it, he gets to discard an evil human. So I'm not really wanting to play my foreign horses or block with Herod the Great. So my best option here is doing Herod's Guard into a Glory, and this will prevent him from playing his really good enhancements. And I was really weak there to a Angel of the Lord. So if you had Angel of the Lord and I try to do that, I just get really blown out. So if I wanted to play around Angel, maybe I should have gone Deceiver into one of my hairs that is protected from dominance and then do Glory of the Lord. So at least that way. And also another reason why that is strong, if I go Deceiver into Herod Agrippa and he's trying to ban people in a battle with a dominant to try and win the battle, this gets around that too. So this punishes them for playing a single hero in battle, but also punishes them if they're trying to win the battle by playing the resurrection or something to ban multiple people in a battle. All right, my turn. I draw a Hopper, Lost Soul, which is very nice. I love this card. It's probably going to be going in all my decks unless I'm playing a New Testament Unity Lost Soul deck. But now I just need to figure out how to put the nail in the coffin here. He has no hand protection, so my 20 shekels will get to continue to figure out what he's up to and how I can play around. And I also drew the cross. I don't think I'll be playing any dominance this turn. So I'm going to ask him if he'd like to play any dominance, and he says no, and then I'll activate the cross. So this way he can't use any dominance to try and get his way into a nice block or anything. 20 shekels is going to reveal his hand again. I get to see what he's working with. He has 2 evil characters, Mordecai, Revolt, and a Faith Unbowed. That's really good to know. Outsiders is one of the ways that his deck can come back. He's so far behind on the board. Unfortunately for him, I have all the tools I need to pick apart what little defense he has. So I'm trying more of a hand control nativity style. So in the reserve, I do play First Sacrifice, which I can play on my green or teal characters. And so if I have 20 shekels going plus First Sacrifice, I'm just going to be like playing their stuff out, sniping their evil characters from their hand. And so I was able to underdeck his outsiders. And then with Mary, I'll be able to attack and reserve his Herodias, his daughter. And if I had to think about it again, I think I would have decided to reserve the outsiders and then underdeck Herodias' daughter, because I know I exiled reserved their Deceiver earlier, so it's going to be really hard for them to get the outsiders out of their deck, out of their reserve. I'm sorry. Okay, and he's not able to present a defense, and so it is my turn. The score is now I have 2 lost souls. He has 3. I needed to rescue 1 more and then play Second Coming, Son of God. He does have a Distressed in play, but I have Resurrection Revealer going, which is currently negating his neutral cards. I have a Herod's Temple, Herodias, the Cross, Sheol, Color Guard, Bethlehem Stable. I have all these effects. So this game is going probably exactly how I want it to go, minus maybe one of the blocks that I made where I could have got the block, but I didn't. So Mordecai coming in, good OT enhancements used by him, cannot be negated, so I definitely don't want to try and give him initiative. Protect hands, decks, and reserves from evil characters. So that means I can't really use my stuff to exchange, but if my deck already has protection, then I think I'm going to be protected from Mordecai. That's okay. I just want to get initiative and play one of my dinky win the battle enhancements. So I'm just going to go for the block with guard and play the Futile Inquisition. He can't really do anything about that. Yeah, just going to look to continue my lead here. All right, star ability, I don't really have one, nor do I have any other Old Testament Lost Souls in my deck. Trying to figure out if I want to grab anything with Stable here. I don't, which is interesting. I feel like there's a part of me that kind of stopped really paying attention and trying to make the best play this game. There's part of me that just felt so far ahead. All the decisions I made, it felt like the game was over. So I wasn't trying to gain every single advantage out of Stable, and so So I feel like why I bring that up is I feel like I need to improve my mental abilities, not only when I'm losing, but also when I'm winning. When I'm losing, I don't want to be able to have to tilt, and when I'm winning, I don't want to just like kind of say, "Oh, I don't care. This game's already over. Just kind of gotta go loose." I want to just have this more consistent approach to the game. So how do I go about doing that? It's just I think it starts with awareness. It's good that I'm noticing like, hey, when I'm losing, I start to get my head starts to get in a bad place. And when I'm winning, I feel like my head also just starts to get not in the best place strategy wise. So he has no more evil characters, so he has to give another lost soul, so it's 3-3. I don't think I've played my Son of God yet. And he's already played his Son of God. And has he played his Second Coming yet? I think so. So even he has to rescue 2 more lost souls with I feel like he's already played second Son of God Second Coming here. He needs to make 2 more rescue attempts. I just need to have him draw 2 lost souls. So I love how Chad plays though. He's still gonna try to make a rescue attempt. He's still gonna try to play to his outs. So here he comes with 24 elders. And I make a mistake here. I forget that he's negating Sheol. So this is mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, I forget about his Herod's temple. So he can start a toss war. Because I was thinking I was just going to block with Herod's guard and play my Contagious Fear because it has CBP from Golgotha. I thought I was going to be chilling, but I make a couple mistakes here. Yeah, so I totally forget about, and he's quick to remind me that Shield's negated. And so I just I just totally punted that. Okay, so if I had to think about that again, what would I do? He didn't use a search ability, so I couldn't have gone Tubal Cain, and Tubal Cain was getting negated already. Herod's Executioner was getting negated. So, like, do I go just Herod the Great, choose Mordecai to block? Or, yeah, I don't know what to do there. I feel like I go maybe Herod Agrippa, negate his ability so my shield turns back on, and then ask him what he's going to do. Because even if he uses a battle winner to get rid of my Herod Agrippa, now I can just shield, add Herod's Executioner to battle. Oh, wait, then he just activated Temple again. I mean, at least if I had my shield out and his ability, I would have way more flexibility with what I wanted to do that turn. So yeah, that's what I would have done again if I had to do it again. Okay, so there's the Son of God, and I know I have a way to get a lost soul out of his deck with Shepherds. So it should be a pretty straightforward turn where I just need to deactivate my cross, attack with Shepherds, get a lost soul out of his deck, and then play Son of God Second Coming to get the victory to 5-4. But yeah, really good for Chad using the limited resources he had to get up all the way up to 4 lost souls. So despite like being really far behind on cards, he was still able to make the best attacks. And I made some pretty silly, not silly, but like I made mistakes this game on defense, that's for sure. I feel like on the offensive side, there were not that many mistakes to make. Oh yeah, there's that one turn where I forgot to attack with Shepherds. So this game probably could have been a 5-3 or even maybe a 5-2. I think if I had played it a little bit cleaner. Just checking his hand to see if he has any outs for one more time. I don't think he does. He already plays Three Woes, so his Three Woes can't negate Shepherds before I attack with him. So I guess he could have had a crouch choice, and then crouch choice, play Three Woes, negate Shepherds before attack. So that could have been an out. He didn't have it though, unfortunately for him. The more I play with Nativity, the more I'm convinced Shepherd belongs in the reserve. It's just a way to prevent yourself from losing the games you should have won. The games where you come out and get so far ahead, but the only reason you lose is when you lost souls to grab. So I feel like this game demonstrates the strength of Shepherds and also the strength of like doing hand control stuff with 20 shekels. That strategy is really effective against opponents who don't have a lot of resources like Chad was kind of working with, but it becomes less effective when an opponent is working with, 10 cards in hand. Getting rid of one of their evil characters isn't going to be that. So that's where cards like John the Forerunner come in. The opponent does kind of have a lot of cards and put down a lot of their evil characters. I don't have to nickel and dime him with 20 shekels and Mary. I can just kind of snipe maybe the one evil character they've been holding on to and then attack with John and then get a lost soul. So I like having John and Shepherds in the reserve. All right. Well, thanks, Chad, for the game. And thanks to you guys for watching. See you next time.